Prelude. In a land that greatly resembles the feudal era of Japan, people live in peace. Sort of. They remain clueless to the dark dealings that occur in the shadows of their towns and cities. While the privileged live their lives without a care in the world and the poor roam the streets, the true monsters of society lurk in the dark of night. They're known by many names, but the one we're most aware of, assassins. Chapter 1. Pyo is a 14-year-old orphan who roams this world, without a place he can call home. As he walks through a town where a fair is being held, Pyo runs into a strange man wearing a straw hat that covers his face. The next thing he knows is he's waking up in a dark abyss. He can feel himself laying somewhere, but he can't see anything. It's pitch black all around him and he finds himself unable to move any part of his body. As he thinks of how he got here, he realizes the mysterious man must have kidnapped him. He can't understand why he would do such a thing though, as Pyo has never made an enemy of anyone. As he lays there in the dark, he constantly repeats his and his parents' names to try and keep his mind functioning. It's all he can do to keep from losing his sanity. He refuses to die here no matter what. The boy is determined more than anything to survive this hell. Eventually, he feels some of his senses returning. With his smell and hearing, he concludes he's in an underground room with water dripping somewhere. He follows the sound of the water out of thirst but bumps into a stone wall. Laying defeated and depressed, Pyo looks up to see a ghostly version of himself staring down at him. Chapter 2. As the mirror Pyo locks eyes with Pyo, he asks the laying boy why he's trying so hard. His life wasn't that great to begin with, so why bother? Why not just accept death? Pyo refuses this idea and tells the other him that he'll never be at peace if he dies without taking revenge on the man that put him here. It'll be his goal to survive and take revenge on everyone that's made him suffer. He'll never give up. When the ghost disappears, Pyo opens his eyes to see darkness again and wonders if everything he just experienced was a dream. Maybe he really is going mad. This thought drives him to regain control of his body with sheer willpower. The boy rises onto his knees and makes his way to the wall he bumped into before. Finding moss growing on it, he eats it despite the foul taste. He can't afford to die of hunger, not when he has a goal to achieve. Walking around the room, he works out its size and layout. Later, a light shines towards him. There's a door in this place. Someone pushes in a bowl of rotten food for him to eat. Smelling the bowl to figure out the types of food in it, Pyo works out that there are at least 5 guards outside this room. On top of that, each guard is probably assigned to multiple prisoners in rooms just like the one he's trapped in. Chapter 3. Time swiftly passes by and it's already 4 months. In this time, he's learned the exact time he's given food every day, trained his body to its physical peak and adapted his vision to see better in the dark that surrounds him. He's able to see the vast amounts of insects and small creatures that live around his cell. One day, he's bitten on the arm by a venomous white snake. As the poison courses through his body and makes him feel a burning pain, he hastily gulps down his food for the day. Once his body fights off the effects of the poison, Pyo sees the snake properly. He notices that fighting off the poison seems to have made his body stronger. It must be what suddenly made his sight so much better. Pyo decides to let himself be bitten again if the poison can make him stronger. He'll do what he must to gain the power to take his revenge. Later, he's shocked when the door to his room is opened and no one is there. He walks out and finds another room a little distance away from his own. Inside, all he finds is the rotting corpse of another person who seems to have been his age. As Pyo continues exploring, he finds a huge iron door in the main hallway with its bolts taken out. When he opens it, he's faced with a man and woman shrouded in darkness. Chapter 4. Walking through the doors, Pyo realizes these two can't see anything around them as well as he can. The girl introduces herself as So Yowol and the boy is Song Chunwoo. Telling them to follow, Pyo continues forward to get out of here. On the way, he sees more rooms with dead bodies inside. The two with him seem to be the only other survivors of this place. When they go through yet another iron door, they see a whole group of people. These are more people who were imprisoned here but survived. Joining up with them, they walk further until reaching the final door. Going through it, they're all blinded for a moment by seeing light for the first time in months. Unfortunately, the light was only from a torch. They're still underground in what looks to be a very poorly built living area that imitates a village or town. While they investigate, a girl from the group, Lee Min, speaks to Pyo. He finds out from her that his eyes have turned red, but she tells him it's not very noticeable. So Yowol comes over to the two and tells them the kids are all forming a group to stick together for safety. Lee Min decides to join, but to So's surprise, Pyo refuses. For now, he'd like to stay on his own and see how things turn out. He's not fully convinced that all of these people are fully sane after months. Alone in the dark. Chapter 5. After some time, the children have formed 4 major groups under the leadership of So, Kang-il, Yum Il-young, and Go Yongzhen. Pyo has remained separate from all of them, and rumors have spread about how he must have killed everyone in his section of the prison. Pyo continues his investigation of the place and learns that this village was built recently, but the underground area itself was made long ago. He also deduces whoever had this done must be very wealthy to be able to afford it. Later, a basket comes down from the ceiling of this place. Inside is tons of food. When everyone rushes in to grab some of it, So and Song step in to stop them. They want to make sure the food is split evenly between everyone. Before the group leaders can start doing this, Pyo steps in and says he'll take his share first. Yum tries to stop him by force, but Pyo doesn't hesitate to fight back. Jabbing the boy's face with an open hand, Pyo gouges out Yum's right eye with his thumb on the spot. So talks him down and gets Pyo to step back with a promise of his share remaining untouched. This event alienates him from the rest of the kids even more. After some time, Pyo and So have a talk. With Yum's humiliation, many children switched into her group. A big reason for this was her fairness and care for the kids under her care. Meanwhile, Pyo continues to sleep in his dark room since he's grown used to it. He doesn't tell her though that he's also staying there so he could gain full resistance to the snake's poison. As their talk ends, the basket comes down for their latest meal. To the children's horror, the amount of food in it has drastically reduced. The next stage in the plan to thin their numbers has begun. Chapter 6. As time passes, the groups devolve into a silent war. Every night, the weakest member of a group dies. Over and over till no one trusts each other anymore and they're all on guard from starvation. Meanwhile, Pyo lives by eating the moss from his room. One day, Yum enters Pyo's section to try and take revenge for his eye. With 3 of his followers, he's prepared to kill the boy. Before they can find him, one of them is bitten by the snake that lives here. He dies instantly from the venom. As the others become afraid, Pyo grabs each of Yum's followers from inside the shadows. One by one, he snaps their necks and leaves Yum to face him alone. Enraged by the loss of his men, Yum rushes forward and tries to swipe at Pyo with punches. Pyo dodges everything and appears behind Yum, backing him into a wall as he tries to run. Knowing he's got no options left, Yum begs Pyo to spare him. He offers everything he can, from an alliance to even a promise to be Pyo's underling. Pyo knows he can't be trusted though. He strikes Yum with an open-handed upward strike to the jaw and gets behind him for a chokehold. He snaps the thug's neck and walks off. As he leaves, Pyo vows to become strong enough he doesn't even need to kill his enemies. Chapter 7. With Yum dead, his group is disbanded and all the remaining survivors fear Pyo will too much to try anything against him. Meanwhile, Go Yongzhen's group is lured into a trap by So's group. She baits them into an inescapable area and orders her followers to kill what's left of the man's group. Go begs her to kill just him and spare his followers. So tells him they can't afford to leave so many people alive, with the food they get reducing more and more. He fights valiantly, but Go is eventually overwhelmed by sheer numbers and goes down. Pyo observes all of this from a roof nearby. He's finally figured out what their kidnapper's goal is. They put them into an area that mimics a residential district and are forcing them to learn how to kill each other with stealth and tactics. This is all for one purpose. They're training them to become assassins. Chapter 8. Over time, So's group has grown far too used to killing. They treat the lives of others outside their group as if they're just a game. Li Min is disgusted by this but has no choice but to stay in the group for survival. One day, the food basket comes down earlier than usual. With so many now dead, So believes her people will be able to eat their fill this time. When she looks at Pyo nearby though, she's confused to see his expression. He looks angry and even worried. She soon finds out why. Instead of food, a group of masked men drop down from the ceiling and beat all the children into submission. Pyo tells himself to endure it since drawing attention now will ruin his plans. 3 masked men in more distinct clothes appear. These are the leaders of this organization and the ones pulling the strings. To ensure their authority isn't questioned, they have one of the children killed just for speaking out of turn. Later, the masked leaders meet. The one with a single line on his mask, First Sword, seems to be the highest ranked. As he speaks to Second Sword, it's revealed Pyo was spot on in his conclusion of what's happening here. The children were thrown into this place with pathetic living conditions to find which of them have the strongest survival instincts and power. The ones who made it out are to be used as tools in an assassination. One that has been assigned to their group with a completion deadline of 7 years. The condition is to leave no traces of their organization, Blood Phantom Group. 1 whole year has already passed since the children were kidnapped. Chapter 9. The masked men now personally train the children. Every day they set tasks for them to complete, and those who fail are killed. So Yoel is noticed as the best candidate by the leaders for her intelligence, judgment, guts and power. Meanwhile, Yoel holds back and makes himself seem barely average to keep their attention off him. During their free time, Yoel reads a book about the thunder-splitting cultivation technique. The rest of the children stopped after learning the basic skill their instructors told them to learn. The ability to sense chi, the internal energy of the human body. But Pyo knows there's more to it, and he plans to gain this greater power. Later, he faces another boy in battle. Their instructors don't care who dies as long as there's a clear winner, so Pyo has to actually participate. The other boy attacks him with a variety of methods, from knife slashes to throwing hidden blades and even sneak attacks. Pyo dodges all of them and keeps defending for a while. Eventually though, he can't keep doing this. He throws his knife down, which makes the other boy cocky. As he rushes in, Pyo knees him in the stomach with full force, knocking the wind out of the boy. He proceeds to break his arm with a knee grapple and leaves the boy on the ground. Meanwhile, First and Second Sword speak about their assassination target. Knowing he's the most powerful man in the whole region, they decide to up the children's training intensity. Chapter 10. After Pyo defeats his opponent, First Sword appears behind him. He scares the boy with a sword swing so fast not even Pyo could see it. As Pyo wonders if he messed something up, First Sword pulls back his blade. Before leaving, he tells Pyo that as an assassin, he can't leave any traces of his presence. His opponents must die. Moving forward, 6 years have passed in the blink of an eye. The number of children has fallen drastically as they kept dying in their training. One day, a training session takes place to test their hiding skills. This is to see how well they grasp the turtle breathing technique, a skill that allows one to slow down their body's vital functions so much that they seem dead and their chi cannot be sensed. While the instructor finds everyone else easily, Pyo is so skilled that he has to admit defeat. Stepping out of his spot, Pyo heads to his friends for a break. So, Song and surprisingly, So Gyeogsan, a savage boy who seems to wear the faces of those that have died. As Pyo thinks about how they might be getting out soon, So Yoel mentions that the quality of their food has been getting better. She believes they'll be given a mission any day now. The end. For now.